Here we go. This
Hi,
how are you?
good. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm good too. This is our, what were we calling this? Power through Wednesday. Yeah, I think we were. I I really enjoyed doing this, and uh I brainstorm a little bit like we've just been doing about things to talk about because there's so many things that we can talk about. It's crazy. And one of the things that happens in real estate is a lot of funny stuff, a
Yeah.
lot of funny things, funny people, funny situations, funny houses. We've both shown property where we walked in and the buyers have looked at us and we looked at them and we're like, why? Why is there a commode in the middle of the room or
Yep.
whatever? It's true. People do weird things in their houses. And I actually showed a house a few days ago that someone built a knee wall in the
Mhm.
dining room, and it had a little opening and they put a baby gate up, and then in the wall there was the pet door that goes outside, like it was a doggy daycare or something in the middle of the dining room.
Custom. That's
Yeah,
what you call custom.
well, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Bathrooms in the middle of a bedroom. I've had that. Well,
Actually, my old broker, one of her listings was actually shown on the Morgantown House Hunters. She wasn't on it, but it was one of the listings was one of the houses, and it had a urinal in the basement, just right in the middle, like right when you walk down the
yeah,
stairs.
there's one in a house I sold a year or two ago, and it's like a nice big house, and
Right.
the steps going to the basement. There was a urinal right there.
You just wonder what's going through people's minds when they design
Like,
this.
was it free on the side of the road or something? You
Yeah.
know, is that why it ended up here?
Yeah.
Did you buy it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that?
My gosh.
I do you what's one of the funniest things that's ever happened to you when was it a listing? Were you showing property? Were you
Um, Let me think about it for a second. Probably, honestly, I don't even know. You go first and
well,
give you
okay.
time to think.
Few things have happened to me. Um, one of my biggest pet peeves is when you go to show a house and the listing agent says, yeah, you're confirmed, you can go. So we go to show it, and then you get there and either the house is a mess or whatever. And I'm always thinking, you knew surely your listing agent told you that we were coming. So there have been a few times where I've seen a few things I probably shouldn't see, underwear on the floor, things floating around the room, things I probably shouldn't talk about that I've seen, stripper poles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a listing right now that has a stripper pole in the basement. And the first time I saw one, I thought, who would do such a thing? But apparently people do it. I don't know. But I would say one of the funniest things that happened to me is that I scheduled an appointment to show the house. There were two listing agents on the listing. So I texted them both. This is when we want to see it. One of them responded, said, oh, yeah, go ahead. The sellers are on vacation. Just let us know how it goes. So we go to the house, use my phone, open the lockbox, put the key in. We walk in. And so there's a foyer area. And then from the foyer, you walk straight into the kitchen. And we go to the kitchen, and the kitchen was a mess. And the dishwasher was open and there were dishes. And I remember thinking, who goes on vacation and leaves their kitchen like this?
Right.
Do you just like, are you packed up and somebody in the family goes, okay, we're heading out, so you just walk away and leave things? And
Wow.
so that was a red flag for me then. And so we looked around downstairs, and then I thought I heard something upstairs. So I took a few steps up and I got to the landing and I turned around and I just yelled out my name, Lorre Wilson, I'm the real estate agent. I'm here to show the house. And bedroom door slings open and there's a guy with just a towel on standing there at the outside the bedroom door. I'm assuming, I don't know who he was with, but he may not have been with anybody. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. But he was very surprised to see us, and we were pretty surprised to see him. Needless to say, the seller fired that listing agent because the listing agent didn't tell him we were coming.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Listing agent
Oh my
didn't tell him we
gosh.
were coming. So yeah.
I've got my own one. So I did an open house for another agent. Well, it was a couple months ago at this point, and beautiful house. And I get there, and I usually give myself like an hour, maybe an hour and a half or something to get there quickly and get ready. Well, I start bringing stuff in, and I went through the front door because that's where the lockbox was.
Sure.
And then, but the kitchen was closest to the side door, and the garage was around the side, and my truck was right around the side. So I started going out the side door to bring some stuff up. Well, I opened the side door and the alarm goes off. And I was like, oh, like I'm all alone. I have no idea what this code is. I don't even know where the pad is to put a code in.
Oh, that's
my listing. And I was like, oh my gosh. So finally, it went off, and I texted the listing agent too. I said, hey, I just want to let you know I set that off. It was a side door. I'm so sorry. She actually texted me back like the son was able to do it from his phone, or like see his phone. So he turned it off. And then I like go about, setting up, and I'm almost ready. And then a police officer showed up. And I was like, oh man, I hate to take your time. I'm so sorry, but what can you do? He was just doing his job.
Sorry. Yeah, I've set alarms off before. It's really, even when the listing agent gives you the instructions to turn the alarm off when you go in, I feel myself kind of panic because it doesn't occur to me until I open the door and you start to hear the beep. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, where is it? Where is it?
So you have a lot of things on your mind, like during showings, the stats on the house, and like you have a lot of numbers in your mind just from talking to your buyers and everything. And like that's just one more number to keep track of.
That's just one more thing.
Yeah, and you're on a time limit.
Well, yeah, it gives you like so many seconds to, and then when you leave, you have to reset it, and you only have so many seconds to like go out the door and lock it up too. I did have a time once where I showed a house, the big family. They must have had like 6 kids or something, and of course they were all over the place, playing in the yard. Listen, people, when your house is listed for sale, always assume that when people come to look at it, if they have kids, they're not watching them.
Yeah.
And so we go to leave, and I went to lock the door. This is now why it's probably not a safe thing to do, but this is now, there's something else I did too. Why I leave the key in the doorknob. Because I had laid the key down like in the windowsill. Because there have been way too many times I put it in my pocket and drove all the way home. Yeah. And you lock it, and then so anyway, one of the kids got a hold of the key, and I was playing with it, I guess, and it was in the front yard, and the parents said, well, thanks for showing us the house. We'll see you later. And I said, nope. No, everybody stop. The key's missing, and nobody's going anywhere until we find it. So they lined up their kids in the front yard, and they were saying, all right, who did it? Who didn't? Finally, one of them fessed up. He went straight to it, but it was in the front yard.
Yeah, you would have
never found it. I would have never found it at all. I did lock myself out of a house one time. I've done it twice where but the funny one was I was showing a farm. And so the buyer and I went inside and she said, let's walk around the perimeter of the yard. And the yard was probably an acre itself. It was fenced. And so I was like, great, let's do that. So we walk out the back door. I left my phone, everything in the house. We walk out, pull the door shut, and it's locked. Everything I had, my car keys, everything is locked in the house. And so I thought, well, let's go ahead and walk the yard while I figure out what I'm going to do. And we ended up getting in through the doggy door. It was a big doggy door for big dogs. And back then I was skinny. And so I got in with like my shoulders and I reached my arm up and unlocked the door. So don't ever put a big doggy door in people can break in. Yeah, that was kind of funny too. But you know, and I fell.
You fell?
I fell.
Oh no. Where? Outside, inside, where?
It was this young couple, and they did end up buying a house from me. But we went to look at a house and locked up, and they were walking to their car and I was walking to my car, and I stepped in a hole in the front yard. And I mean, I face planted. I just whoosh went straight down. And I mean, even I had grass stains on my jeans, on my and I had to pretend like it didn't hurt, you know. I think more than anything hurt.
Oh my gosh, what did they do?
He was already in the car and he was getting ready to open up his door, and I saw him pause, and he looked around and he started to take a few steps back, and I was on my hands and knees, and I went, I'm fine. I'll meet you at the next house. It's okay.
Oh my gosh. At least it's like funny to look back on those things. And like, you just have to be able to laugh at yourself for
yeah. Broke a key off in a door too one time, stuck it in to show it, went to turn it to open the door, and it just broke.
I feel like that happens to me all the time where I'm like, this is not locking. This just happened when I showed a property last week. Like there was a sliding door and I opened it, and I always try to keep like note of certain things, like the way that I found them. Okay, so this light was on and this wasn't, so maybe they want this to be like, I don't know. So you know, I just try to leave it exactly the way that I found it. Well, there were these like weird locks where you push it in and then twist it to open the sliding door, just ones that I've never seen before. And one of the sliding doors didn't latch back up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. And I'm trying to inspect it. I'm like, I know this was locked, whatever. Well, it turns out the whole like interior part of this lock was just completely missing. So it couldn't have been locked when I got there.
Yeah.
But I feel like that always happens to me. It's like I'll break something, or just something like a knob doesn't work, or the deadbolt doesn't go in, or something.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I think what sellers don't think about is that strangers are walking into your house, and we don't know if something works or not, unless there's a fly in here, unless the agent says, hey, you know, this is not
working. About this door. Yeah, this door isn't working right anyway.
Yeah. I have to get that fly.
I probably spent like a good 10 minutes, and they had already left, and I was like, well, I'm here. I don't know what to do.
I had to like text a listing agent before and say, look, I did everything I could to lock this door, and I could not get it to lock.
That's what I do.
Whatever. Yeah. Showed a house one time where we went into the teenager's bedroom, and it was like all this really dark, like the walls were painted black, the ceiling was painted black, and it had all these really dark movie posters all over the walls, like murder, you know, just really dark stuff. And it smelled a little funny in there. And so the buyers, we walked in, and the first thing out of their mouth was, how many coats of paint is it going to take to cover this up? And I thought in my mind, is that all you're worried about?
Yeah, really.
Things smell a little funny in here, and I think this teenager is a little needy. I don't know, needs attention or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you see
But
some interesting things. And I mean, when you think about it, you're walking into somebody else's life. Like you're walking
yeah,
into somebody else's home, and who knows how long they've lived there and the memories they've made there. It's crazy, honestly, sometimes.
yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times we get buyers who just think that we're going to jump up and go show them a house. And I got a buyer day before yesterday, and she wanted to see a house in Barbersville. And so I started talking with her, and pre-approval letter, or if you're paying cash, you have proof of funds, because sellers only want, really, why would they want you in your house if you don't know if you're going to get a loan? And so, but it's the way you said that is so true. You have to remember that this is where they live, right? This is where they have family meals. This is where they've, probably raised their kids. This is where their kids probably sleep at night. So there's a lack of respect from buyers, I think, a lot of times, for sellers and their houses.
Right. And just giving notice, because you don't know. I mean, somebody's schedule, and
yeah,
I'll get a text, just, hey, can we go see this in an hour? Like,
no,
we can't. Actually, if it's lived in, we can't do that. We have to be respectful, and typically, just at least in our area, typically 24-hour notice is what is asked.
Yeah, I do that on all my listings. I ask for 24-hour notice.
Yeah,
especially if they have young kids or pets even, or anything like that, because it takes time. They want to know. They want a heads up. But it's I don't know. It's just funny how people think and what they think we do, and
we're not just like glorified door openers. That's what I've heard.
Probably what they think. Yeah, that's probably how they feel. It's not I want to look first and see if I like it. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. Some agents might. I don't do that at all. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Back to the funny / kind of embarrassing stories. I know I shared this with you before, but the very first showing that I ever did after I got my license was in the middle of a snowstorm. It was somebody else's buyer, but a lot of new agents will take whatever, because
it's you're helping somebody out. Yeah.
It was somebody else. She was from my office, and her kids, it was a snow day because the snow was awful, and I was up in Preston County still. So the snow up there is crazy. Well, I get there early. I leave early, tried to get there early, didn't end up getting there early because there was so much snow. I had to go so slow. So I get there, the buyer's already there. I'm so nervous, and I have prepared, I printed off the MLS sheets. I have prepared to show this house for a full 12 hours. All I've been thinking about, and trying to answer all of his questions. When I talked to the listing agent, she said the lockbox is from the sound of it, she said on the back door. And so I'm thinking, okay, you got to get to the back door. So I parked, and it was on street parking. Then I have to go to the back door. And I'm wearing my dress shoes because I didn't think I thought that I had to be so professional. I didn't even wear boots. I'm wearing dress shoes. The snow's probably at least 6 to 8 inches high, right? In the yard. I'm having to walk through the yard, and this buyer is just following me, because he thinks I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we get to, also there was a fence, and I couldn't get through it because the gate was locked. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm freaking out internally, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm already failing at this. So I go and I find this piece of fence that I can climb through. So I climbed through this fence and I'm still in the snow. I get up to the back porch, no lockbox, nothing. I was like, again, I'm trying to like redirect what, like she told me it would be on the back door.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
gosh, what do I do? So the buyer is still just standing there watching me, and I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. So I end up going, I'm like, I guess I'll just like check on the front door, which I should have done in the beginning. And I walk all the way back through the snow and I'm freezing and my feet are soaking wet. And I got there and behind the screen door, because I couldn't see it when I first pulled up to the front of the house, was just hanging there on the front door.
Yeah.
So
Oh God.
anyway, needless to say, that didn't go anywhere.
I showed a house in Kentucky. It's probably been a year ago, and the house was vacant. And so we're looking around, and all of a sudden we get ready to leave, and I notice outside that there's a few police officers. And and I looked at the buyer and I said, something's going on. So there were like 3 or 4 police officers, and then it was the house across the street. They were serving papers or something. And so we stood back, and I looked at him and I said, what do you want to do? I said, let's lock the door. And I said, let's back away. Cause I like all these things just started going through my brain. Like, what if there's a shootout? What if this person runs and they're chasing him? And so I told the buyer, I said, I locked the door. Let's take a step back a little bit. But we're both standing in the window, like trying to watch and see what's going on. He goes, I'm going to get my phone. He got his phone out. He said, in case something fun happened, he was going to get it on video and save it. But nobody was home, so it wasn't as fun as we kind of hoped it would be.
Oh gosh. Yeah, we see some crazy things.
Yeah. Yeah. Been pulled over on my way to Hamlin to list property.
You were pulled over with me.
Were you in the car?
It wasn't even to Hamlin. It was a different time. Have you been pulled over twice?
Probably.
Wait,
here's the thing, when you drive through those little towns, if you don't pay attention, that's where they get you, because the speed limit changes like that.
Yep. I was pulled over. I told you I was pulled over last week.
Where were we when I got? You were with me.
Oh, I think we were in. It wasn't Raynell. We were going to that Alderstead listing, I think.
Are we?
Do you remember? I don't remember what towns we were driving through. Hamlin wouldn't be that, right?
No. But I've been pulled over. West Hamlin. There's like a little. Right when you pull into West Hamlin, there's a left. There's a turn. There's a curve, and he was sitting on the back side of that curve.
Yeah.
Just gave me a warning. He didn't give me a ticket. I mean, I didn't do it on purpose. And I didn't have my registration or something in the car too. So I was.
Oh no. So you got lucky.
It was fine. It was fine. But I don't know. I think that that's probably the funniest things that have happened to me. Probably the time I fell. It's probably the most embarrassing.
I would say.
Nothing else. Oh, I'm sure it'll happen again. I'm sure it'll happen again. Have you ever? I showed the wrong house one time.
No.
Swear to goodness. I had to pick up the key at the agent's office and met the buyers, showed the house. The key fit the door, everything. It was a vacant house. We walked in, looked at everything, left. Buyers wanted the disclosure, so I go in the MLS, to put the address in. And I pulled the address up and I looked at the MLS and I thought, that's not the same house. That's not the right house. We looked at the one next door, and it was not for sale.
At least you got lucky that it was vacant.
But it's just odd to me that the same key worked. So I don't know thinking back on it now, I probably would have assumed that the same person might have owned both houses and, but at the time I thought, gosh, that is so weird. Why did that key work at the house?
Oh my gosh. Did you tell them?
Yeah, I told him. I said, y'all want to go back tomorrow? Because we looked at the wrong one. Always be honest. It's the best thing to do.
Yeah. I don't know if you follow Glenda Baker from
Yes.
oh my gosh, Georgia.
Funny.
She has the funniest story about selling the wrong house. She went through the entire process, sold this guy the wrong house. It was like $1 million sale.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. That's so probably happens more often than people realize, because that's why I always look up the legal description, because the legal description and the property address, like I listed a house, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And if you go online, the house number is not the same. So I had to check the legal description and make sure it was right. Because it can happen. Yeah. It can happen. I've heard a few attorneys say, oh, well, we sold them the lot next door. Like there was one house in Ohio one time where the house sat on 2 lots, and like the property line went not directly through the middle of the house, but through the middle of the house. And so it was 2 different parcels. And so they sold the house in one parcel and didn't convey the other one. So I'm sure they had a little bit of a legal battle. I heard also one time that wasn't me, but it was somebody in our tri-state area sold a house and the wife didn't know the husband sold it. They hadn't moved out or anything. The buyers did their final walkthrough a few days before closing, and they all closed. The buyers showed up with the moving truck, and the wife she opened the door. Who are you? Can you imagine?
No, I bet that was not a fun conversation for that.
I would say he probably wasn't planning on hanging around too long after that.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I can't imagine that. So I'm sure we'll have a lot more funny stories as time goes on.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, listen, you guys, like our YouTube page, subscribe to it, because we have videos every Wednesday. Hopefully we can bring something of value to you. Have a great day.
Bye.